And I am also going to share my screen here. Share the browser. Okay. All right, I've got Grammarly running for anyone that has poor grammar like myself. Let's see here. Let me
Here we
close
go.
it.
Okay, yeah, just updated.
Let's see. I might be able to do 150% here. There we go. All right. Is there a link in the chat yet? Did anyone get a chance to paste it? Otherwise, I'll do it here. All right. Everyone, paste. Okay, a link to the meeting is in the chat. Welcome everyone to the November 9th iteration of the MicroProfile Live Hangout. And a link's in the chat. Please click on the link and add yourself as an attendee. And it is everyone's shared responsibility to take notes. This meeting is being recorded along with the chat, both of which will be uploaded to YouTube after the call. Okay, so I thought we still need to finish off the program plan, but I think we're nearing the end here. So there's just some hopefully quick things that we can get done before the end of the call. Well, before we get into that topic, I should say, at which point we can then go look at the slide deck. Okay, so Emily / Edwin, what's the latest?
Hold on a second. Can I disagree, John? I'm sorry to interject. Can I disagree with this? Can we get done with the program plan so that we agree to send the votes up for the vote today so that it can be closed next Tuesday and finish that first? If it's so quickly, why are we leaving it for the end?
Because we've been punting these, and I definitely want to make sure that we get to a couple of these. This shouldn't take any more than 10 minutes, right? It's not really these aren't really discussion oriented topics, except maybe the next steering committee meeting. That's the only discussion oriented one. I can move that one until after the slide, after the program plan, but the other ones really are kind of status oriented things.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see if we can get a status on MicroProfile 5 for Emily and Edwin.
So I will cover the bit for the full stacks, config and health and metrics, also JWT and all in have done the stage their final release. So it's for the config, health and metrics, and also we already put a ballot on, please vote ASAP. So it's, we really need to conclude this, finally release these APIs. So it's, I believe the voting date is ends early next week. So ideally, if we can get this ballot closed this week and we can push the specs to final. I think a GWT ballot has not been started. Last time I talked with Sergey said, Roberto, has Sergey got in touch with you?
We only got the MO email yesterday, so I'll send the ballot today. Okay,
that's awesome. Thank you. So once we get this all done, that'll be good. So and then we have the 5 MicroProfile specs will be out for ballot. And then the rest, 3 REST client and Open API and Open tracing will be out at the end of November. So yesterday at a marketing call, we want to do the final release on the 7th December so that on the Jakarta 1 live, so we can announce that we can do
earlier, or hopefully earlier than the 7th. 7 is the close.
Yeah, 7 is closed, but the 25th of November is the date the Open Liberty beta will be out. So that's the earliest date we can create CCR. So I can propose we can stage out the final release that week. And then we can start a ballot perhaps on the 25th November. However, because the minimum time for this ballot running is 1 week, I think the earliest day properly, yeah, I think it's the 7th. I'm afraid the 7th December might be the kind of the earliest date we can do it.
Okay.
One remark. The 7th December, this is the date of the Jakarta 1 live stream. So announcing it there would be nice.
Yeah, so that's the main reason we want to get it out before the Jakarta 1, so we can do the announcement there. The Jakarta 1 is the 8th December again. So if we release on the 7th December, which is Monday, and we can like do a big announcement on the 8th December. Hopefully I can demo it. I have a talk on MicroProfile. So
yeah, I know. Perfect.
Yeah. Let's try to make it that happen. In this way, like we can have an early Christmas.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna move forward if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it. I'm pretty much done. I don't know what other Edwin, you want to add anything else?
Okay, I tried to take some notes. Feel free to just validate them. Yeah, review them and make any updates. Okay, the next two are just reminders that we have 2 ballots, one on the membership fee change and one on replacing the trademark logo with a compatible implementation page, right? So those are, you can go take a look at the links. That has links off to the threads. Most people have voted, but if you haven't voted, please take a look and vote on those respective ballots. Okay, so that's more of a reminder. Now let's move on to the program plan. So last week, I think we had pretty much finished. Let's see here, I'm taking a look. I don't know if we, let's see, additional goals. I think we added these last week. So specification process, we took that, we added this slide. So this is a new slide relative to last year. So I think what I'd like to do, sorry, I'm kind of reviewing this out loud, is go back and address any outstanding comments. Does that sound like a valid approach?
Yes.
Okay. So here we are. Anonymous says this should be.
That was me.
Okay, so it's no longer anonymous. Okay, here we go. Organizations, plural. Okay.
John, can you please mute everyone? We're hearing some sound, or maybe it's just me. I'm hearing some sound that doesn't allow me to listen well, especially when Emily was speaking.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to mute all. Oh, interesting. Mute all didn't actually mute all. So I will do it the manual way. Okay, there we go. Okay, everyone is muted except myself. Oh, there is a, okay. Let's see here. I am going to move down where slide 5 has no comments on community outreach.
Can you, John, can you go back into the next, there was something in the marketing that talks about the trademark, we need to delete that. Resolve our standard trademark and compatibility logo issues. This assumes that we're still using the trademark program, or can we make it specific to the TCK? We need to reward it.
Well, let's wait and see the outcome of the vote,
okay,
which is of the ballot, and then we can update this one if that's okay.
Okay, that sounds great. But let's add a comment to it. I waited for this post because I wanted to make sure that we don't drop the ball on this one.
Okay. Update pending outcome of ballot. There we go. Okay, moving on to slide 6. Greatly increased technical content. Actually, hold on. I want to kind of do these in order from top to bottom. Convert Groovy based setup to GitHub pages. Big +1. Okay, so this is agreement from Summers, not necessarily anything to actually update. So nothing, okay, that's just an agreement. So Summers, I think you're on. Okay, if I
Yeah,
just.
it was just an
approve that?
agreement. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Greatly increase the technical content available on website as a whole with sub-bullets on code on pages and see the code doesn't link to code. Okay, we'll have to discuss. So Emily, you have made a comment. I think we agreed for this to remain the same. I'm going to mark this resolved, although I do have a question. Actually, maybe before I do that, we want more code on pages. See the code doesn't link to code. Is there a specific reference somewhere that we can point to?
Projects this talks about we need to leave it specifically. We don't have to leave it specific. It's just the project page will be changed to GitHub. So every API has direct link with the API, and we need to change that, right? So it's talking about making that, specifications, and also the APIs be amazing by connecting and being live. We don't have that currently. It's totally, I think David sent a message on it. Maybe, David, go ahead.
Hold on. That one's, Roberta pointed that one out several months ago. We have a link in the upper right-hand corner of our website. It's highlighted in yellow. It's a button. It says see the code. It doesn't show code when you click on it.
Okay. Can I have a link?
Just relabel that button.
Yeah, okay. Can I have let's see. Okay. It's just on, sorry, I'm going to bring up just microprofile.io, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just make sure we're all on the same page. See the
Right
code.
there. Go ahead, click it.
And there's no code.
Right.
Directly.
So,
okay.
We should either relabel the button or actually make something that shows some code so people can learn MicroProfile.
Yeah, it's a reference to the post storage, but it's an indirect reference.
Well, right, but and then we also have, if you go to microprofile.io/projects, we got the repositories listed there too. It's just the buggy thing we're talking about replacing in bullet 1.
So my recommendation while we fix this is to direct that button to a startup page, the MicroProfile starter, and then we can work on see the code. Because currently in the website, the only thing that shows code is the starter. So that
okay, I have a question,
mm-hmm.
A meta question. This is something very detail oriented for a program plan, in my opinion.
Yes,
we can yank it, but basically the heart of the bullet is that we should have code on the website.
Yeah, more code on pages. Okay, if it's okay, I'm going to delete this.
Sure.
Is this already a GitHub issue somewhere?
No, it's not yet. We're waiting. It's not. We can create a Git stream.
Yeah, I think create this issue and then delete it. Let me create a GitHub issue and then you delete it.
Emily,
Okay.
it needs to be under the MicroProfile working group repo.
Yes. Oh, I'm not sure. I think I should be in the
Yeah, I agree with Emily. It should be in the website repo or something like that.
Website repo.
Sorry, I lost. Oh, that's why.
It's okay. It's okay, John. I got it. I'm going to open the GitHub issue. You just go ahead.
Who added create sitemap?
Again, that was in the document from that we did for the beginning of the year. It's a carryover from last year. So I don't recall who asked for that.
But it wasn't there 2 minutes ago, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No, it's been there for 2021.
Oh, was it? I thought that there was only 2 bullets. This one and
that was that wasn't a sub bullet. Somehow it became a sub bullet right now, but it wasn't a sub bullet.
right. That was my question. Is who
Oh,
added that?
right.
It was a top level bullet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe I messed up. Sorry. Is when I trying to copy the details, I messed up the format. My fault.
Yeah, just back it up so it's a black bullet that's in the, you know,
Shift tab.
it's
A
too
top level.
indented is what I'm trying to say.
There.
There you go.
Ah,
That's the way it
okay,
was.
hold on. I don't want Jan yelling at me. Still not working.
That's fine. That's the way. Oh, the bullets are a different size.
Hurry up.
There we go.
You know what?
Okay.
John, you're formatting. If it was me, I wouldn't be able to do this. It's just the basic thing. No, I can't do it.
I think we're okay now.
Yeah. So one thing that I would mention is that we have this whole thing, create pages that cater to specific personas. I think that's great, but I don't see anybody realistically volunteering and working on that at the moment.
It's only a plan for the future, right? Maybe
Yeah, I
somebody
mean,
could pick it up.
It was there for 2021 and didn't receive any action. I mean, I don't have a problem leaving it there, but I just want to be clear that when we have regular status meetings, I won't be giving updates on that bullet.
Sorry,
is
which
not-
bullet you are talking about? Sorry, I just created a GitHub issue. So which bullet point?
I couldn't hear you. Sorry, Billy.
Personas, the fourth one.
Or the
Yeah.
fourth one?
Yeah, bullet number 4.
Oh. Yeah, so that's quite, unless I agree, unless there's a volunteer to take a lead on that, again, this is kind of not even defined goal, quite a vague.
We can capture it. I mean, I think we have a GitHub issue for it because it was in a 2021 plan. You know, but
Oh, right, now I remember, because
yeah, we did have,
yeah,
go ahead, sorry, I keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, so somebody complained about MicroProfile.io is not end user focused or something like that. So and then we discussed trying to create a web page directly like a developer focused or decision focused.
Yes.
So,
Right.
And you're correct. We had 2 Git issues and the marketing side complaining and showing us with screenshots about it. So then we put it on the 2021 program plan. The 2 microprofilers have not joined these calls or volunteered to own the work, even though I was point blank saying, are you agreeing to lead this effort? Once I said that, quiet down. So my recommendation is to remove it, because it doesn't really matter if you complain or not. If you're not willing to support it or move it forward or contribute, then at some point we need to acknowledge what is the voice without actions. So I'm a little bit ruthless with it.
how about, again, we create an issue on the MicroProfile site. If someone come back and we can ask them to contribute. Or if we have somebody volunteers, we can take that on. So that doesn't need to be on this goal, but we can always give it out for some new kind of anybody would like to contribute.
+1, Emily, but not it. But we agree. Are we agreeing? Is someone disagreeing that we should remove it? If someone disagrees, then we just need to know: do we keep it or do we move it? I am +1 to remove it.
Yeah, for example, adding examples, code examples that fits to the first category, the developers persona. Maybe we write some blog posts for the decision makers, make them happy. I don't know, but I'm okay removing it and creating Git issues if they are not already existent.
Yeah, it's issue 68. So it's tracked.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it was in the 2021 plan, and I went and created issues for every bullet that was in our 2021 plan. You know, and I don't think it's a bad issue. It's just that when we have the Tuesday calls and we get to this slide and we go, what's the update here? It's always going to be no update on that one.
Yeah.
Unless somebody decides.
And remove it, and maybe we discuss it next year.
I think
to
that's
edit
fair.
again.
But so
Yeah.
far, all the comments I've heard have been to remove it, unless is there any objection? Okay, so we'll remove it. And I'm going to mark this comment as resolved as well. Okay.
John, should we leave that first bullet? I made a comment in email.
Oh, sorry. Leave the first bullet.
No. The one
Oh.
you removed, leave it, take it out.
Okay.
The very first bullet on this page.
Oh,
Are
this
we
one.
planning to move the site to GitHub, or are we leaving it where it is?
Yeah, I've responded that was an affirmative. John responded that's an affirmative. It's the
okay.
with the yep.
The thread is going in the
But
forum.
just so you know that the website is not one technology. I tried to explain there's 3 technologies there. So we have WordPress, which is the kind of the marketing based pages that change quickly, right? They don't get done in code. Then we have there's a kind of a Groovy based thing that is there to make pages for the individual specifications and to show all the committers across the all the repos. That really could be done with something that's statically generated rather than dynamically generated. And the
So
fact
maybe the goals should be more illustrative of what the content is that's being talked about and moving, instead of just saying Groovy based.
sure.
I understand. So with your explanation, it makes more sense, right? But it almost sounds like, but we're not actually proposing moving the whole site. That the WordPress stuff will stay WordPress, and
right. And then there's start.microprofile.io, which I indicated. I don't recall exactly where that's set up or who has access to it.
Rudy, for the starter, Rudy, you're here, correct? This was it started as pretty much led by Payara and a few
So
others.
it was a Red Hat hosted it, and Rudy
Yes.
worked on it. I mean,
Yeah.
Rudy created the code, right?
Mhm.
And then Red Hat collaborated and donated the infrastructure.
Yeah,
But as I say, I don't know who has access to that. And Eclipse did request access, and we will need to grant them access to it because it is part of the MicroProfile website. Anyway, that's a third technology. So we have 3 technologies. There's the making of the project pages. That's mined via Markdown and GitHub API. There's the main site, which is WordPress. And there's like 40 different people who have access to that. And then there is the start.microprofile.io, and that's yet again a third technology. So we can say convert Groovy-based project pages instead of setup. Is that better?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. With that, I think we are done with this page. Let's move on to technical goals. So Edwin, you have a comment here. Idea for innovation of MP in 2022, onboard all standalone specs onto the platform. So I'm assuming that means, for example, the reactive specs, long-running actions and stuff like that should be part of the platform spec.
Yeah, this was about the discussion about value of MicroProfile. Maybe if we put specifications in the platform that are necessary or desired by end users that are not part of the platform yet, maybe that will increase the value for end users. That was the idea behind it.
But it can be difficult to achieve, I think, in some cases, if you have only one runtime with everything in it, then some reactive things are maybe not compatible with the non-reactive things, as an example.
Yeah,
But okay,
I understand.
that's,
Yeah.
we don't need
Yeah,
to discuss. We don't need to discuss it here. But the idea was for standalone because not everyone is using it.
Well, there was a couple of reasons.
okay.
One was because, yeah, it's maybe not as broadly applicable. But one of the main reasons is we were afraid that if we had a platform spec that included, you know, at the time, 12 or 13 different specs, it set a high bar for someone to claim that they're MicroProfile compatible. So we wanted to set kind of this very, you know, a lower bar for new implementations to come on board that were, you know, had, okay, implement these 8 specs, for instance, and you're MicroProfile compatible, but feel free to add on these other ones as well. So it's really trying to set a little bit of a lower bar as well.
Clear.
I think
That the discussion about evaluating standalone specification is on the last bullet of the slide. Is that related or?
I think so.
Yeah, that's basically what this is. That's a good point, Roberto. I think Edwin's comment really is reflected in this last one. You want to take a look there, Edwin?
I'm taking a look, but I think you're right.
Okay. So I'm going to resolve this because it is already listed.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to mention it, and maybe it was a bright idea, but I just put the idea was to put it up for discussion, but we can.
Well, we did add this very recently, or at least reword it this way in one of the last couple of calls. So that was after your comment. So it is reflective of your comment.
Yes.
Want to resolve this?
Was on the last call last week.
Okay, Kevin, no, he's not here. Maybe this needs to be a strategic goal with a possible exodus of config and some of the other ones. Our portfolio is shrinking, innovation and new specs is key for MP and success in 2022. Comments?
Yeah, 2022, we need to put innovation first. So we need to investigate new effort to the new technologies. And then it's also the resources, each, for example, the members maybe need to come up with some resources, and then we need to collaborate to move this forward.
So who is? Sorry to cut you. Go ahead.
So I'm wondering whether whether we should add one bullet point here about constitutional. Okay, we said encourage more innovation with new specifications. This is kind of the pretty much a rough goal. I'm wondering whether we need to do more specific stuff.
Can I also comment on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know where it was a discussion, but a new specification or somebody has an idea. And then the question is, should I put it up on the Jakarta flag or the MicroProfile flag? Either is possible because they're often implemented in the same application server, especially if you are not targeting one of the platforms. But I think that the main reason why you should put it on MicroProfile or Jakarta is because of the way it's going to be implemented. And I think that there is a value to MicroProfile if you really can leverage our different release cycle or the way we do stuff just a little bit different than in the Jakarta space. Then it becomes more clear why and when a new specification should land in MicroProfile or in Jakarta. At least I want to prevent this is going to be a fight between the two platforms. I want the new specification or they want the new specification. That it becomes a natural way to say, yeah, this is one for MicroProfile and that is one for Jakarta because of the way how the working groups work.
Well, the CN4J discussions were supposed to be a venue for having that discussed. And, we kind of held off on the technical aspect because we're having these meetings. It felt like at the time for the sake of having the meetings, not necessarily discussing specific topics. So I think this ties into Dimitri's comment down here about, well, since gRPC has been proposed at Jakarta, do we need this goal, right? To me, that is a discussion that needs to be had. I don't want to turn this into the merits of one versus the other right now, right? This is the program plan. But yes, I do think we need to evaluate the need for a MicroProfile gRPC specification. I do like the idea of encourage more innovation with newest specifications. I think that is a valid top-level strategic goal. I think Kevin was right on that one. So on those 2 points, what are other folks' thoughts as well?
I think we discussed last week about gRPC within MicroProfile, and we decided to add it because it's not finished, the decision to start it. The team decided to go to Jakarta, but it's at a very early stage, I think, or state. So therefore, we added it here, I think, as far as I remember.
Well, in reality, there was no decision on anyone, right? So there is a group of, or a person or a group of people that want to get that in Jakarta. So they want to propose to Jakarta. So we might have a group of people or a person that wants to do that in MicroProfile and can propose that to MicroProfile, right? So in that regard, there is no decision. You just have like 2 different groups of people that want to propose the same thing to 2 different groups, right? So we can either try to come up with like a process or something that makes a clear understanding on how decision is made on where goes where, or what goes where, or then you might be seeing competition between both groups.
So I'm trying to avoid turning this into debate's too strong a word, but turning this into a discussion. I think the word evaluate is proper and neutral enough where we can have this conversation in 2022. Right. And I think
just let me add a couple of things here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So all the concerns been raised already. But on the meeting today, and since I proposed a change of license, not change of license, but exception for the CPL license for gRPC project in Jakarta, I feel, again, this is my personal opinion, that I feel some reluctance of some group of people to add gRPC spec to Jakarta. We have the same people in Jakarta and in MicroProfile. And I really don't want, if the game turns into, let's just block it for Jakarta and let's accept it in MicroProfile, because it sounds like that. And I'm strictly against that. And it just indicates that 2 working groups are actually competing, which is not for good, because these working groups needs to work together or be a one specification process. I finished, thank you.
Okay, my feedback on that is every time I hear that speech, it feels disingenuous, because there was a bullet on this thing saying we wanted to have a gRPC specification here. And so the let's work together thing falls apart the second you don't like the bullet. No conversation in the community has happened here on where that should be. You just went and filed it over there. And so afterwards, then you sing the story of community, let's do it together. But you didn't do it together, knowing that this bullet was here. I don't have a problem with gRPC happening on the Jakarta side of the fence. I have no intentions of blocking anything. I just kind of don't like that the actions don't match the talk.
My
and we're
opinion
turning
is
this
that
into a debate, which
yes.
I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah. Anyway,
and have
we
this
can leave it.
conversation here.
We can leave the evaluate there. It was part of the 2021 plan until there is a specification somewhere. I don't see a problem leaving it on the plan. And because a group has indicated desire to put it in Jakarta, doesn't negate that another group has indicated desire before that for it to be in MicroProfile. So we still got to continue to evaluate.
Come on, David, the same people proposed that. That was a desire for gRPC because I proposed it for MicroProfile, right? And after that, the same group of people who is going to work on actual spec decided to change it to Jakarta, right? What's the problem here? Right? It's the same group of people.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, but going back to John's, can we encourage move innovation with new specifications to move it to strategic goals instead of here? That is a very general goal. We should leave the evaluate need for gRPC here and then move the encourage more innovation with new specifications to the strategic side.
I do want to pick up on Dimitri's point. If it was you, Dimitri, who was advocating this be part of our project plan in 2021, and you no longer feel that you want to have it as part of my MicroProfile in 2022, then I would support removing it. Is there anybody who would want to add this specification to MicroProfile? Who would work on it?
So I think Red Hat's evaluating that.
All right, well then we leave it on.
And we move on. And
Yeah,
I really
and-
like the calling out. I love the calling out directly. This is why MicroProfile rocks.
So
for
let's-
the next point and Amelia's thing or Kevin's thing, yeah, I would agree to move it as a strategic goal, but we should keep here evaluate new specifications to have a link in the technical goals for the strategic goal defined on the second page.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to resolve Kevin's based on the discussion and move this to a strategic goal.
Jan, why do you believe that we should add a version of it about evaluate new specifications on the technical goals?
Because new specifications reflecting new technologies, and we should reflect it in the technical goals. And the strategic goals are the vision, the route points we focus on, and we got some details in the marketing, and we should have a reminder in the technical goals. That was my point.
I'm +1 then.
Me too.
All right, so I'm going to leave evaluate the need for gRPC specification. It is non-committal. I understand this is a topic of discussion. And so let's have that discussion in late 2021, 2022. Okay.
Could we add one point reflecting new, evaluate new specifications?
Sorry, which slide? This slide or the previous one?
The previous one.
Okay.
After gRPC, evaluate new specifications.
Well, we kind of have that here, right? I mean, it is a strategic goal. It just moved.
Yeah,
I think it's different wording for the same thing.
But what I want to say is we have strategic goals. These are the root things we are focusing on. And we should have a reminder on the technical goals that we evaluate new specifications reflecting that strategic goal.
Yeah, it now says specifically standalone. Is that correct?
So basically, double it. Make sure we will have new specifications in 2022.
Yep.
That's our goal.
+1.
Okay. It's it's the same wording right now. Is there more proper wording?
Evaluate new specifications, John.
Okay. Okay, next slide. Consider data source specification, new spec to investigate how to handle database access, or adopt GPA and work with Jakarta to ensure working well in microservices world. Are there comments on this here? Let's see. Hold on. Sorry, I want to make sure I got this right here. Okay, it starts with Emily here. Should we adopt GPA or ask that GPA be included in the Jakarta core profile? I don't. I've got thoughts on this, but I'll hold off. See if there's others that have thoughts about this bullet point.
So this, sorry.
Emily, sorry about this. It's your point, so go ahead, but I do have thoughts on this.
Okay, I'll be quick. So this is directly from some user feedback is saying, okay, one thing is lacking in MicroProfile. Basically, they're trying to use MicroProfile just for their cloud native application. And they thought, oh, I don't need to look into Jakarta EE. If MicroProfile also package like the data access, that would be great. That do the job. And then I thought instead of creating something new, maybe it's directly the adopt GPA and put a GPA in the core profile, Jakarta core profile, and then promote MicroProfile together with Jakarta. That's all. Amelia, yours.
So yeah, so when we talk about core profile, I thought we said that we would evaluate the, how to connect with Jakarta. When I see this is too specific, I'm not sure if it belongs here. We have evaluate adoption of Jakarta core profile, and we should avoid this kind of thing. At least that's my view. It's just too, it says that we collaborate and things like that, and we play super nice many times. Do we need it here? What are others' thoughts on this? I don't think we do.
Database access is kind of a nice thing to have, but not necessarily JPA. I had an idea to create something like the repository pattern or active record pattern, and standardize that in MicroProfile. It could make sense, but not exactly JPA, right? It's kind of built over JPA, similar to what Spring uses, for instance.
That's interesting, because my initial thought was, do we even need this top level bullet, right?
No.
So, well, but now Dimitri brings up actually a very interesting point. It's like, well, if we were going to do something that was, async reactive, that's intended to be used, in a broader async reactive environment, that does seem appropriate here. Because it is, I think, something that doesn't necessarily fit well in Jakarta today. And we already have some reactive specs that it would align nicely with in MicroProfile. So I actually think that part is interesting. I'm not really for adopting, GPA, because it just felt like this bullet, until Dimitri brought up the idea, but it just felt like this bullet was, well, for MicroProfile to stand on its own, it has to have a persistence spec, right? Where, if you look at implementations out there, like, Helidon and Quarkus, yeah, they support GPA, but they also support, and I think Helidon is too, so I'm not sure, Dimitri, other persistence things as well. And they are MicroProfile compliant. They aren't Jakarta compliant, right? So I just don't feel like MicroProfile has to stand on its own as a spec kind of platform to do everything from end to end, right? That's just my 2 cents. But I do like Dimitri's idea of the reactive persistent spec being in MicroProfile.
Yeah, I agree. This point was from last year, so maybe it's gotten a little bit old or still. So I agree with rephrasing it as a more focusing on cloud native data persistence or cloud native persistence than just focusing on JPA, because there are more initiatives than just JPA nowadays, like you said.
So the other thing is the Spring has the R2DBC, the reactive data access. Maybe we could evaluate that to see whether we can adopt that. So having that said, I think is maybe just leave the top level thing and then leave the details out of this technical goal. We have a few options, but they don't need to be listed here.
I like that idea, which just you restated my original kind of point. Is everyone okay with that? Removing these two sub-bullets?
Yeah, I was going to say delete all of it, but after the explanation, delete the 2 bullets and leave the major thing. I thought it was too specific to favoring one thing over another one and limiting us.
Okay.
Do we remember these sub-bullet points we already discussed? And last week we also talked about the potential or the idea I heard Jakarta NoSQL moving to MicroProfile.
So can we leave that as the top as the top bullet? Consider data source specification.
If data source is the correct wording, then yes, please.
Mike, do you unmute yourself? You have something to say?
Well, I was going to ask if I heard that correctly, because I've been involved somewhat with the Jakarta NoSQL spec, that it's being moved to MicroProfile.
Oh no, that was discussed in the CN4J alliance calls.
That was too long ago. That is too long ago, and it's not. Yeah, it's Asian.
Yeah, but
no.
Yeah, I can provide more update on that. I did get in touch with the Otavio. I asked this question. He said he prefer to be in Jakarta.
Could we delete the sub-bullet points and consider data access specifications or new data access specifications?
Sorry, all of a sudden my screen here cancel. Why did that pop up? Sorry about that. I had something pop up over the screen. What was the comment?
Maybe we can delete the sub-bullet points and consider new data access specifications.
Okay. Are we okay with the words data access, not data source? I'm okay. Just others.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Data access.
People may people may think data source is JPA.
Yeah. So is there? I think a couple of years ago there was a long conversation on the data access. Maybe we should reactivate that thread and to rediscuss that.
Well, I do want to keep this pretty generic.
Delete it
if we can.
Yeah.
We have 8 minutes to go in 2 more pages. Can we can we do our best to not derail the conversation so we can get this done?
Yeah, I would hopefully, I would like to try and resolve these last few comments as well. Edwin says the requirements for runtimes compatible with 8 has been lifted. Can this item be removed?
I hope it makes sense.
Right. So should it just be 11 and 17?
Some, when we remove 8, what is the hurt, Edwin? What is the hurt of keeping 8 in here?
Nothing hurts, but we now don't have any restriction on the implementation anymore. You can use any Java above 8 to pass the CCR. So
And
why
we are
is
now
why is
planning to
Sorry?
base on Jakarta EE 9.1, which is based on 11, right?
Correct.
exactly? So yeah, but it's about the runtimes, right? The specification is still based on 8, and that's the. I thought it would keep it for now, but the runtimes can be anything from 8 and above. So I thought it doesn't need to be explicit here anymore.
So you are saying remove the first bullet point, right? Is that what
Yes,
you are
if that
saying?
makes sense. Yes.
Well, is it the first bullet point or is it just removing that?
But why
It's a question.
spec-
It's not a statement.
Yeah.
but why specify only 11 and 17? Because are we limited to that one? So just remove all the Java numbers.
Yeah. So we aren't limited to that, right? You can use any version.
Okay. So
So
if
it's
we
not a
remove
restriction.
that,
Yeah,
the
because
bullet
it's not a
becomes-
restriction.
right. It becomes improve alignment with platforms and infrastructure for better end user experience, runtimes, JVM, MicroProfile, Impl. Does that bullet still make sense?
Yeah, in my opinion, no.
Yeah, I was going to say no.
Just delete the first bullet point. Is no longer needed. We have solved the problem.
We potentially need different Java versions tested with the implementations.
We already said clearly in the spec, you can use any Java 8 or above.
Exactly.
The coolest thing about this is that we don't limit what the implementers do and how they choose to run. We put the minimum of, this is the minimum we can do. As implementers, we choose. We have customers, we deal with our customers in support to the customers. So we are very flexible on this level and we must keep it. So I said, let's delete it, and really good call out, Edwin.
By the way, I do have a hard stop in 4 minutes. Unless someone else wants to, Edwin, continue the call. Because you're co-host, that's why I say that.
And the
We're getting
DevRel.
close.
DevRel, it's his job.
Well, maybe one thing that we want to add over there is moving the source level to 11.
I think that we could evaluate that, right? Because we wouldn't want to write that down as an agreement now.
Exactly.
Or evaluate, sure, but instead of having like runtimes or like that, just consider evaluating or consider moving the source to Java 11.
Yeah, I would like that.
But we need to be what we need to be very careful on this, when I hear this, is that it will be another release, another year of releases, just upgrading onto the next Java.
We need to stop nitpicking you so much. It's just evaluate. That is not a commitment.
Correct. So can we just be very careful here? Because every single time I said, let's do this, then a whole year goes and we have no innovation.
I believe evaluate is close, is careful enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we could write evaluate in Java 11 plus. That opens the window a little bit wider.
It was there as Java 11, Java 17, but Java 11 plus is fine. But we got to get through these last two pages before we can end this.
Yeah, I think we're done with this one. Is that good? Close enough?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
For me, it is.
Last one, and Edwin, I may ask you to take over if we can't get this done at my hard stop. Sorry about that. Here we go.
Yeah,
Revisit MicroProfile compatibility and what its requirements are.
This needs to be deleted again. Well, let's leave it there hanging until we have a vote, because we won't need it. We have the TCK and we will work on this, but it needs to be, if we leave it here, it needs to say MicroProfile TCK compatibility. Either we add the TCK or we remove it. And we can wait for the vote to complete.
Yeah, +1.
+1.
Okay, so remove this.
Yeah.
+1.
Okay. So what I'm gonna, one last thing here. We have additional goals that has 1 bullet, and we have specification process that is 1 bullet. Can I move this bullet to additional goals?
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. Plus one.
1 minute. I have one strategic goal that I would like for us to consider. Can we say support the DevRel as a main goal for 2022? I know Edwin, we support you and we do a bunch of things, but I'm talking about supporting you for maybe one travel budget and these kind of things. And I would like for us to consider, is this something important?
I apologize, Amelia, before we add, we still have 2 comments here. Emily is saying this has been resolved.
Yeah, so the new Eclipse specification process actually is already said very clearly in no vote, required for the micro release. We already kind of streamlined the release process based on the last year's feedback.
Right.
So that's why my comment.
Can I remove this one?
Yes.
Okay.
And plus one on Kevin, we need to track how well we do with the achieving the goals. Either we do it by quarter and we can see how are we, like I call it KPIs, but we can say just measure how well we're doing against the plan. And it needs to be an additional goals. Kevin totally nailed it. I recommend quarterly. Add it. We can say add it, the project plan with actual outcomes quarterly, because the steering committee meets 4 times a year. We should use part of that call to see how well we have done in the quarter. That would be one of the coolest things and will keep us honest. Okay, so I have to drop. I basically moved this line item back to this one, and we could move it back to additional goals, because if we start adding goals to this one, then maybe keeping them separate is okay. I'll let you guys kind of finalize this aspect of it. But it sounds like this has been resolved. This one is currently under discussion. Hopefully you guys can finish it off in just a couple minutes. And Edwin and everyone else, feel free to then merge this bullet back into the additional goals slide. Okay. And I have to drop, but thanks everyone. Thanks, John. Mwah.
Thanks.
And I have to stop sharing, so somebody else is going to have to share. Edwin will have to. Edwin, you see this?
It's good. I always have to, but I need to set up my stuff. Just a moment.
All right, I'm trying to say how to leave meeting without ending the meeting. I'm just going to exit Zoom and hopefully that works.
John, I think you need to make Edwin the host.
Oh, he's co-host. Can I make him host?
Yeah, you make it host and you can.
Edwin.
I tried this earlier today.
Edwin, you are now all powerful. Uh-oh, is he still here? Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, now I can say leave. All right, thanks everyone. Gotta go.
Yeah, bye. Thanks. Bye.
Right, so I'm going to share.
I saw some small formal things. We again had on one slide the problem with the bullet point size, and the last, the slide number 9 has dashes instead of points.
Edwin, you're not sharing yet.
Yeah, because I can't. I have to restart my Zoom to start sharing, and then I won't post anymore.
Do you need me to share, Edwin?
If you would like, that's maybe the best solution for now. I have to give permission to Zoom, and then I have to restart Zoom.
Okay, once you leave, you will end the call. Let me share my screen.
So I think we need to rewrite Kevin's point, because early this year, Roberto nicely said that we didn't do a retrospective as we said we would, and it was not written. So additional goals is quarterly, I would say quarterly retrospectives. 6 months is too late. We should know if we're failing. Failing fast is super important, and we need to be ruthless. And this is what MicroProfile keeps to be honest, because we track ourselves in what we do. and we don't hide. If we
Right.
cannot jump into a call and say, hey, we have failed on this, let's do something about it, or drop it completely, then, 6 months is too late. We should do it quarterly. Others, thoughts?
Can we just
think-
say the working group will review these results at least quarterly?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Ed. I think the next meeting, we need to distribute each bullet point, have the owner, and then like, as you say, quarterly, working group call, and it's the owner need to provide update. It's not acceptable to say no update. So if it's the kind of the second time no update, maybe we should get somebody else to step in to help. Otherwise, we can't really no update, and towards the end of year, the whole thing no update.
Yeah, and we need to say stewards. In parentheses, this should be stewards dedicated to particular size. We did that last year. We chose 3-4 different microprofiles for every section, and it needs to be stewards allocated to different points. And then move forward. Let's keep it simple.
We could simply say establish means for quarterly review of program plan progress.
Sounds
We-
nice.
We haven't really dictated, said, how,
Yeah,
Yeah, and thanks, Roberto, for pointing it out super nicely.
of program plan progress.
Better. Yeah.
And this will include budget, and this will, we don't want to be as specific, but
And I
Okay.
think that's a very, very, very fair thing to have in the program plan. I've made these similar comments on the Jakarta side, and we're not doing it on the MicroProfile side, and it's only fair that we do. And so, let's see if we can make it happen.
One formal thing, could we add the second point, the new point, to the last slide, number 10?
yeah.
Because
Sorry. Before you we move to the slide 10, can you delete the first bullet point, Edwin? That was resolved, like the release process.
Delete the line with the comments.
Yeah, delete this bullet point because the macro release is no longer need the ballot, so that's is dramatically simplify the process. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to move it because something is wrong with the template. It uses dashes instead of bullet
Yeah, I
points.
noticed that.
And the last one is correct. And then we can rename it organizational goals and add it with a specification process bullet point on the last slide and remove the slide 9 completely.
Well, but this isn't you're talking about collapsing 9 and 10 into one slide?
yeah.
Yes.
But so the additional goals is simply fine, right?
Yeah, we can name it additional goals or organizational goals.
Additional.
But either way,
Additional is okay
fine.
for me.
Yeah, because if there's something that doesn't fit, and it may not be if it doesn't fit elsewhere, it may not be organizational, it just didn't fit elsewhere, so.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Right.
Yeah,
The other things I'm thinking for this quarterly review is this additional goal, or is a bigger focus, a strategic goal? We do need to measure the progress, do we?
Ooh, Emily, good point.
Well,
Let's move it to
that's part of established means in my mind, because we would need to figure out how we're going to track this stuff, and that's something that we'll probably not get right immediately, but and we may get something that's effective, but it's too cumbersome, and we may end up changing it. Anyway, it's all wrapped up in there in my mind.
I don't know. I believe it's reasonable to say here that we will review them quarterly, even if we're still working on what the means are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's was that an agreement, Ed, or?
I think we're kind of dropping what my read of what is written here kind of drops that we're going to review them quarterly. This just says we're establishing a means of doing something, right? And maybe say, and review progress quarterly.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying.
Okay, how about
So-
just quarterly review program plan progress?
So I will suggest put this not in additional goal and directly lift to the strategic goal. We set a goal, we need to review the goal. And this is something we must do it. It's not like, oh, we could do it. But we say we do it quarterly. I think nothing stops us to review it. Otherwise, I feel like we dump a lot of goals and not being able to achieve any.
I also feel, Emily, +1, I also feel that if we leave it into additional, it's like nice to have.
Yeah.
If you put it in the strategic, it means we must do this.
that makes
Exactly,
sense.
put it in the agenda,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, I was thinking about that and then you totally owned it. That's really beautiful.
I don't have a problem with it being additional because I don't read additional as optional. So I still see it's required, but whatever we want to put it, I just let's make sure we have it.
Okay, and I'm going to move it to the strategic goals.
Yeah, and I mentioned Edwin, clearly we're going to go through the committed rep, but I believe that the committed rep should be represented in the strategic goals as support, enable, or whatever we want to write it. You said that you have some comments on this. I haven't seen them, but do you want to share?
Well, I have put an item on the agenda for today's Hangout to discuss a little bit of the committee rep things and happenings. So sounds kind of a retrospective of what has been done and what should be done and what could be done next year.
Yeah, so let's add one sentence here in a strategic goal.
Yeah, but
Before we move to a different thing, so have you put in here yet, Edwin?
No,
Review.
no, it's not in the slides yet.
yeah, and I think that's not a strategic goal. For me, it's not a strategic goal. It's operation of the working group.
Exactly.
Where to put it then? Operation work.
Additional.
Well, I think it was fine where it was, but anyway, we got to wrap this up, everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
what the title is as long as we do it.
I think it fits perfectly in the perform quarterly review of program plan, and that means also the members of the working group, right? I
Yeah,
guess.
sure. Yeah.
Wait, marketing slide? That's not the right place.
Nope.
Oh,
No.
oh my God! Yeah, it's getting late. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you.
What is happening? Yeah. Edwin, can we create a sentence? Is it 12:12? Can we create a sentence where it says support the MicroProfile working group committee representative? Something along those lines. Doesn't matter what we do. Let's be very generic, but it needs to be added into strategic goals. We failed on that one because when you came on board, or when we ran the first election, it was in December, and it was after we have done the project plan, right? So what would be a nice way to say the project needs to support you?
Can we get to the last bullet before we add more things?
Do we need this slide? Can we delete this?
Yeah, we don't need it. There's nothing on it.
So we put an operational thing in the strategic goals.
We're gonna have to live with it and fix it next year. We got to wrap this up.
I don't.
Anybody?
I think
Is
it's
it okay
fine.
like this? Yeah,
Yeah, it's fine.
All right.
makes sense. So
Okay.
Sounds good. Looks good.
What was the goal you wanted to add?
Edwin, how
Amelia, yeah.
it should be support the MicroProfile working group must support the committee rep. Something like this. Edwin, make it pretty.
yeah, what where? Marketing or
Check.
strategy?
Yeah, a strategic slide. is super important.
Make formal support for.
Make sounds passive. Formalize support for a committee representative or support. If we start with support, it's like super nice as well, but we need to do certain things, operational things in place. So formalize seems good to me.
Yeah. So that was exactly why I put it on the agenda. So now it's in the.
Seen it. I was at yoga. I'm super happy. I was at yoga before this class. No time. So this is bias me.
Can I just ask what kind of support are we looking for? I'm sorry, I'm just reading in.
Well, one of the things that was discussed at the start of the year, should a committee rep have a proxy or not, which is currently not possible, but that was discussed but not solved. Other things are, what are we expecting of the committee rep and what are we not expecting? Stuff like that, more kind of filling in details of the role that's.
Mm-hmm. And Edwin, we have never written what is expected, what are the responsibilities of a committee rep for MicroProfile. And I was about to send you an email to the marketing side saying, will you like to write something that says a wiki on that? And this we can tag. But one of the coolest things about formalizing support means also budget. So we should have maybe, I will say very biased here, maybe 3,000, you can go to one event, and be a speaker of MicroProfile, and we will support you with budget, like a normal person. You are an independent, you're not expected to take a vacation and those kind of things, but the project itself should support the rep. And that means not for all the travels, but at least one a year that is fully paid. You have the swag, you should always have swag with you at all times, and all these kind of things. We should highlight you. We should do all these things that we didn't do in 2020 because we didn't have the new technology. But we're creating technology in 2022. And I think it's important to make sure that you are the face. All of us are the face, but especially the one that is chosen by the community. And if anyone disagrees, please say so now. We can start a thread in the community forum on this, but I'm really, really hopeful that we get this added to 2022.
I'm not sure that I agree or disagree. I just don't understand the extent of what's being proposed, and would probably want to discuss it over a prolonged period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So maybe you could change it to role, formalize role and potential support or something like that, because you are actually suggesting some function in the budget.
Yeah, it's something big that allows us to do better, right? And yeah, Edwin, I like, if you think this is okay, Ed, I think totally said it nice.
Yeah, I think this is okay in the sense that it's not just for me, it's for any commit rep that it comes in the future, right? So yeah, now it's official.
12:17.
Drop 17. 17 what?
No, it's, I mean,
it's 17 after the hours. So we're way over.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything that, at this point, are there any objections to this that we need to address?
No, it looks good.
Great.
Oh, the second slide, in this case, do we need to leave it, or maybe John will delete it before we...
You can delete that. I don't think we need to so any overhead on that. It's clearly, obviously, a discussion.
So
facilitating.
So we cannot send this for a vote yet because we're waiting for the vote to end on the trademark. Is that what is the plan? To wait until Friday, or can we just move on and submit the vote later today to tomorrow to go to 7-day ballot? What's the plan?
Well, let's default to what let's let John handle that, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Delete that second slide. We discussed it. Who's ever got control of that slide deck right now has been typing on it. Just delete slide number 2.
We can add an delete and comment there.
Yeah, we just let John know that we got all the way through it and take it away.
Shall I send him a message on Slack?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you just send a message on the working group on the mailing list.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also fine.
And
Okay.
Edwin, in that message, we need to include that next week on Tuesday, we will use the time to talk about the budget. We need to finalize that as well. And we have 27, if the vote passes on Friday, because it already passed, it has more than 6 votes last time I talked. So the budget has already passed. So it closes on Friday. We will need to use next week's Tuesday to discuss the budget. It's going to be, I think, quickly. MicroProfile wants to be very community oriented. We have about 27,000. And in that message, you say next week on Tuesday, we should dedicate time to work on the budget. I think that would be my recommendation so that we can be prepared for the discussion.
Yeah, that's fine. So next week, although it's kind of technical call, I think it makes sense to straighten out the budget. So maybe Edwin, when you send the notes, also just say next week we'll discuss budget.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just discuss budget. Yes.
Exactly. Discuss budget. No, like, seriously, Edwin, I can send you the link. We have the link in the community forum and the community drive. I can send it to you and be like, through marketing, and say, these are the things, this is ready, not ready. You can see the current budget and move on. I will do that after this call. So you're prepared to do it for tomorrow, right?
I guess.
Basically,
Yes.
just to say next week is still live Hangout.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The agenda to follow.
Yep.
Yeah. So I will await your link and then send out the message.
Yeah, I will send it to you via
Okay.
the forum. Okay. Are we ready?
Great. Yes, I am. I'm ready enough to go to sleep. So
Seriously. Seriously.
Okay.
So everyone, 20 minutes in, we did it. Kisses to everyone.
okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.